Hello everyone, this is Jason from Primetime Aquatics, and in this video we have a very special fish room tour for you. We are going to be touring fellow GCCA member Jason, his name is Jason as well, his fish room. I think what's so cool about it, for those of you who have a smaller fish room or just a couple of tanks, I think you're going to really appreciate this fish room tour because there aren't a lot of tanks, but what's in those tanks is really cool. And as is often the case, if you want to see more of Jason's fish room, check out Creative Pet Keeping. I will put that link in the description below. A whole different perspective. So if you want to see more, check it out. I hope you enjoyed the fish room. Stay tuned. So welcome to Jason's fish room. In this first tank, this is not quite in the fish room yet. This is a very large display tank in his living room that houses a group of Vieja. These are absolutely beautiful fish from Central America. You can see here there are a number of them. Look at the colors of these fish, and I think he did a really good job setting up this tank to really accentuate that color, to really get it to pop with the darker gravel and the dark background. These fish are obviously feeling comfortable, showing a lot of color. Now this is a fish that is somewhat aggressive. I mean, it's a Central American cichlid, and being a Central American cichlid, most of them aren't really pushovers, and this would be no exception. So you do have to be able to manage the aggression well. He's done that in this tank because it's a larger tank. It's a 5-foot, 120-gallon tank. And he's got a number of fish in here. And so you can see we don't have a lot of fin nipping. The fins aren't all shredded up. Nobody's hiding in a corner. And this takes some time and some experience to manage aggression with fish such as these. Now, this is a relatively easy fish to feed. For the most part, you can give them cichlid pellets and they will eat frozen foods. So it's not too bad to take care of. Water parameters right around neutral or so. But this is a nice display tank leading into the larger basement. Now, when we go down there, you're going to see there's not a huge fish room here. There's only about 8 or 9 tanks in the basement. And so one of the reoccurring themes that we're going to see as we go through this tour is when you don't have a lot of tanks, you have to choose your fish wisely and really focus on the fish that you want to keep. And I think a lot of people will be able to relate to this who don't have a large basement with lots and lots of tanks. And sometimes when you've got a limited amount of tanks, the fish that you keep, you really have to be choosy. So let's go ahead and take a look. So this is the fish room. Not many tanks, but what's in these tanks, I think you're really going to enjoy. Let's let Jason take us through.
So over here we have the black-orange dorsal, which are line-bred fish from Europe, lithobates. They're beautiful, really popular and really hot. They don't have as many babies and they don't breed as quickly as a normal Malawian, so they seem to be quite popular right now. We have one of the holy grails of the fish hobby, Otopharynx adoceta, and you can see this giant male here, and then there's a female in the pot. I've spawned them a while ago, but they haven't spawned recently. Last time they spawned, he ate the eggs, but they have had a group of babies in here before. Moving right next to it, we have a pair of Lithochromis, or Heckelii lithueli, type of jewel cichlid, and you can see they are sitting on a bunch of babies. And what's interesting is where they had the babies are little coconut shells. And those are the same coconut shells we're going to be having for dessert, for sorbet. They hold the sorbet that you get at like Trader Joe's or Costco. So you get to eat the sorbet and then you can spawn your fish. How cool is that?
Sweet. Maybe there'll still be babies in the sorbet.
There you go.
And now for this commercial break. Now there were some dogs barking in the background. They were going crazy playing. But these are some really cool fish. You see here we've got the orange nasudos. These came from the rare fish auction. We did a video about that. I'll put that in the upper right hand corner. That was a really cool experience. But these feather fins are absolutely phenomenal. There's a few of them in here. I really hope they're able to breed. I would love for these things to wind up back in the club. Just a gorgeous fish and something that I hadn't seen before. And then here we've got Neolamprologus, sexfasciatus. These are another really great fish. I like the way they look together. We've kind of got a color theme going here with the background. A really cool looking tank. We're going to let Jason take it from here.
Now we move down to what I consider a holy grail fish. So this is a Jason fish. Actually, this is probably my favorite fish tank. Although, full honesty, they should be in my big show tank. Well, my big show tank has got some other fish that can spawn. These are Furcifer rosivas. The female was holding on Sunday and I didn't strip her. She seems to only hold for 3 or 4 days. I figured since you guys were coming, I'd actually see if she'd actually fold. They spawn about every 2 months, but they don't fold. But I love rosivas. To me, that is one of the most beautiful fish you could ever own.
What lake are they from?
Those are Lake Tanganyika.
That's what I thought. Nice. Man, those are great. What's
and then those, we've got 3 pairs of red Kagoma compressiceps, and these are F1s. And if I'm correct, there are 3 groups of babies. There were 3 groups of babies last weekend, so all 3 pairs are sitting on like 50 or 60 babies, maybe 80. So if you're able to zoom in, each of the caves actually has babies. They are one of the biggest compressiceps I've ever had. I grew those up from babies, and they're just ginormous.
You got those when you were a kid then?
No.
They're finally that size?
No, like maybe 2 years old.
Wow.
I think they're beautiful. They get a white lip, and I don't know if that's from spawning, but they all seem to have a white lip. They have beautiful dark color, and they get a spangle on them. And they're showy, and they're out there, and they're just ginormous.
Yeah, they're awesome fish.
We've got all kinds of fish growing up, or growing out down here. So we have some albino Empress and some albino blood red Empress. So that pair carries the albino gene, and then that's an albino red Empress, another albino red Empress. Then we have some albino Heckelii. I picked these up at the ACA.
Those are really hot right now.
Those are really hot. Yeah. When they were first being brought in from Malaysia, the rumor I heard was they were only sending us males. And I got some at the ACA from Imperial Tropicals. And they brought, I had Mike from Imperial Tropicals try and pick me out 2 pairs. So we'll see. It's a very difficult fish to breed in captivity. Very few people have bred the regular Heckelii, no less the albino Heckelii. It's funny because a lot of people are looking for hobbyists, and I don't think I've ever met anyone who's actually bred the Heckelii.
So the dog's got a little crazy here, but this is another really cool tank. I just like how this tank sparkles. It's just in great shape. And so here we see some Lethrinops. These are yellow collars, a really pretty fish, subtle color, but as they grow up, they get even more color. I like the color that they're showing with the way the tank is set up with the substrate, that lighter color sand. The other fish in the background, I don't remember the name, but they were just picked up from the rare fish auction as well, which is pretty cool. I think there was a random Geophagus brasiliensis in there. Just a nice tank. They're getting along great so far. You've got the breeder boxes everywhere. I think these were some VC10s that he had just bred. So lots of breeding going on in the fish room too, which is pretty cool.
Up here we have Geophagus megasema, a breeding group of Geophagus megasema. Then we've got some Leptosoma and Impalungo. And then there is a pair of Sumbo dwarfs that are breeding in here.
Oh, wow.
Later, we might be able to grab the shell and get some babies.
Nice.
I've got a breeding group of Sumbo dwarfs in here and a breeding group of Sumbo dwarfs up there.
Oh, cool.
They're kind of hidden.
So filtration, you're running all sponge filters?
All sponge filters, except I do have occasional UV filters in tanks to remove any parasites. Helps if I'm breeding in wild fish or fish from other hobbyists. I find that works. I have full automation, so we can do a water change sitting here talking and not. If you want to see a automation go, we'll turn on this light, and if we want to start a water change, we're just going to go like this. And all the water is going to flow out of the fish tanks into a drain.
So how many tanks is that draining right now?
That is draining 6 tanks with no problems. The other 2 are hooked up to RO water, so I'm not going to drain and fill those 2 in the center. I should really say that. That's not RO water. This one's RO water. That one's got babies in it. So.
Gotcha. And how often are you changing water in these tanks?
Once, twice a week.
Okay.
But my water, which is different than many other GCCA members, will go down to this level.
Oh, wow. And do you frequently drain it that far?
Every single week.
Wow. So here you can see just how far he drains these tanks. They're actually in the refill mode at this point when we shot this part of the video. But I found it interesting how so many people have a different perspective on water changes and tank maintenance. And I don't think you can really argue the results. His fish are in fantastic shape. They're breeding well for him. They look great. Really cool fish room. And one of the things I so appreciate about belonging to some of these clubs in the Chicagoland area is the experience and the types of fish that are brought in. When these fish breed, often they make their way back into the clubs. And I would encourage you, if you have fish clubs in your area, definitely worth checking out. I'm also curious, what was your favorite fish in the fish room? A lot of cool stuff. Was it the vieja? Or maybe you really like the feather fins. There was also some really cool geophagus that we saw. So in the comments section below, would love to hear from you. What did you like? We have some other really cool fish room tours that we've done of other GCCA members down in the description below if you want to see more. So if you like this video, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.